Oh man, it's the grab bag.
So, book 2, Mr. Monster. Alright. It's been a while since I've listened to this series, as I think I mentioned last time. But I thought I liked Mr. Monster the best out of the original 3 books. And re listening to it, it gets very dark. The villain in this book is another demon, or, person. He calls himself a god. He doesn't have the ability to transform like the original one did, Mr. Crowley. Uh, Except this one, he is, in a sense, a little bit more dangerous because as he gave up his own feelings to become immortal, it meant that he could feel other people's feelings. So he was able to use that to, well, if somebody had this anticipation like they were going to try to attack him or there was hope or anything, he could feel all of that and be prepared and be ready for it. So it made him quite the dangerous enemy. What also made him dangerous was the fact that he was an FBI agent, and that is one of the reasons that nobody was able to catch him because he was able to cover his tracks the entire time. Um, and so he, of course, was in the first book named, but he didn't really do too much in the first book except for, you know, there just his name was mentioned, Foreman. The second book had a lot more to do with him. He was still around after the Clayton killer disappeared, so he was trying to find the Clayton killer. But it wasn't because he was trying to actually stop him. No, he was trying to find out whose body his friend had taken over and whether or not he was dead or alive. And his friend's original name was Mackay, but now he was in the form of Mr. Crowley, but Mr. Crowley is dead, and so Foreman's trying to find out who killed him, how he died, and also to basically capture whoever did it. And that led into the whole game of cat and mouse he was doing. So, in this book, the main character, John Wayne Cleaver, is continuing with his life. Now he's struggling with the fact that he actually did kill someone, and the urges to try to kill other people are coming back stronger and stronger. And he's trying to also pretend to basically be a normal person. And his neighbor, Brooke, kind of finds him attractive and wants to go on a date with him. And when they go on their first date, a dead body is found right there. And it's a young woman who was brutally tortured before being drowned. And John, at the time of this, uh, goes up, finds the body, and helps some other people get the body out. And then he's aware that there's another serial killer in town and the methods are different and he's trying to understand. Then on their second date, another body is found. And well, it turns out Foreman was killing some people in order to try to see if Mackay or Crowley was still alive, just in a new body. And that did not happen. There was no follow ups, there was no communication. So Foreman decided to mess around with, because he could feel everything that John was feeling. He knew when John was having the urges to hurt people, and he wanted to use that. And so, the last 3 hours of the audiobook are John being held in this Foreman's torture house, and It gets very dark, very brutal, and John comes up with a way of defeating him, and he has to play this well enough to not have any urges. But Foreman decides to grab Brooke to make John torture Brooke. And it's crazy. It is absolutely intense, and John has to pretend like he wants to. Well, in a sense, he actually does want to hurt Brooke because of his sociopathy, but he uses that to hide the fact that he wants to stop Foreman. And he successfully gets Foreman to, get snared in the trap, which John ran a wire on a knife into the oven outlet, so that way, as soon as somebody touched the knife, they would get electrocuted. So as he was chained up, he asked Foreman to go grab it, and Foreman does, gets electrocuted, and dies. And there goes the second demon. But Foreman was in communication with another one called Nobody, and this leads up to the next book where Nobody comes to town, and Nobody is very intense as the third and, I thought, final demon in the series. But yeah, Mr. Monster is kind of fun at points, very dark at others, and the continued madness of John having to deal with literal monsters, but everybody thinks he's a hero, except for the fact that he is barely holding on from becoming a sociopathic murderer himself. So it's a pretty interesting book to listen to, and I do suggest it if you want to listen to something a bit dark.